From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story, a North Pole man accused of murdering his estranged girlfriend appeared in Fairbanks District Court this afternoon. 33-year-old Russell Burris is charged with first-degree murder of 21-year-old Mandy Clemens. Troopers are still investigating the alleged homicide, but according to a release, Burris shot Clemens and covered her body with a tarp near Larissa Drive. Burris reportedly attempted to commit suicide by drug overdose, but was found unconscious near the woman's body. Due to the ongoing investigation, the district attorney's office was unable to file charging documents against Burris this afternoon. He will be held without bail at Fairbanks Correctional Center, and another arraignment is scheduled for tomorrow morning.
Understanding that his arrest time was 12:05 yesterday, Your Honor, which means that under Rule 5, we've got 48 hours from that time of arrest to get him arraigned. Doing him at 1:30 obviously would be too late tomorrow, but if the court could accommodate, I have been trying to work with the troopers this morning to get a charging document together for the court, but we haven't succeeded in doing that as of yet, so we're going to need a little bit more time, Your Honor.
And the Senate Finance Committee has language in its version of the state operating budget that rejects monetary terms included in contracts for more than a dozen units for the upcoming fiscal year. The committee also adopted language removing salary increases for employees not covered by unions. Committee co-chair Pete Kelly said the action would require separate legislation. Such legislation was introduced in the House today. The state faces projected multi-billion-dollar deficits amid low oil prices, and many departments are facing cuts. Documents provided at a hearing this morning showed the removal of the salary increases, which would save about $57 million in all fund sources. Kelly says the move is geared towards saving jobs.
For this committee's benefit, and so that you know, this is an action to save jobs. It's going to save us money as well, but we want to save jobs because as long as we can do that, we should do it.
After voting on several amendments, the Finance Committee adjourned without forwarding a budget to the Senate floor. The committee will continue to work through the budget tomorrow.
Reconsideration on House Bill 132 was not taken up in the Alaska Senate today. The legislation, which temporarily restricts participation by a state-sponsored corporation in an alternate gas pipeline project, was transmitted to Governor Bill Walker today. The Senate passed the bill by a 13-7 vote yesterday. Supporters of HB 132, which passed the House last week, says the bill reaffirms the state's support for Alaska LNG, the major liquefied natural gas project the state is pursuing. Critics say it will hamper the state's negotiating position on the LNG project. Governor Walker has said he will veto the bill, emphasizing that he wants a viable fallback should that project fall. At least 40 of the state's 60 legislators would be needed to override a veto.
And 8 students were honored at the University of Alaska Fairbanks Interior Aleutians campus today. The students earned a certificate in rural human services and can now provide the knowledge and skills to deliver culturally relevant behavioral health services. The students fly in from all over the state for 1- and 2-week intensive courses taught by professors and elder instructors. Student Janelle Murray says that she looks forward to helping rural communities.
Getting the tools to work with people in the community, I think that helped us give the tools to engage with them and to hopefully, move forward in being a light in our community. And without my classmates being together, it would have been a lot harder. And without them and their love and support and the guidance too, also with the instructors, we look forward to more endeavors, possibly the Humes class in Bethel, and just really excited and happy for all of them and just grateful.
And when we come back, a lack of funding might result in the summertime downtown market coming to an end.
Also, in our weekly military report, we'll tell you all about the MAST program and how it affects civilians. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Fbx Evening News. The Downtown Association of Fairbanks has announced it will no longer host the downtown market. A lack of funding for the 2015 Alaska Farmers Market Quest program is one main factor that led to the cancellation of the summer event. The market gave local farmers and artists an outlet to sell produce and merchandise to people in Golden Heart Plaza. Executive Director David Vandenberg said it might be true that the downtown marketplace is no longer happening, but the Festival Fairbanks organization is currently developing a new program called the Festival Fairbanks Plaza Marketplace.
We've done the market for 4 years. It was popular. It was a good program. We felt that it was to the point that it could be kind of fledged, and taken over by somebody else. You know, with that said, it's not going to be the downtown market in 2015. It'll be something else, but we have confidence that there's still going to be activities in Golden Heart Plaza.
And Sunday morning at 7 a.m., the William Wood Centennial Bridge spanning the Chena River will be the scene for hundreds of people celebrating the rise of the Easter sun. The event has been going on for close to 10 years, and each year has added more activities. This is an all-denominational celebration and will feature several pastors from churches throughout the community. Highlights include singing, bell ringing, and horns blowing to recognize the Easter observance. The event is not only a celebration of the holiday, but also a unique coming together of diverse spiritual and religious groups.
And it's just a wonderful time to see the various denominations come out, even non-Christians, and we gather on the bridge. It's sort of just like a gathering, you know, of the labor that we have done throughout the years, in the year that Christians come together and just to celebrate the resurrection of our Lord. And it's just the atmosphere, you know, it's electrified, you know, so to speak.
We'll have more in-depth interviews along with details on what to expect at the sunrise service on the Saturday edition of the Fbx Evening News.
U.S. Army Alaska is getting back into the search and rescue business. Monty Bowen has details now in this week's military report.
It used to be called MAST. That stood for Military Assistance to Safety and Traffic. That was discontinued as more and more soldiers were deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. A program similar to MAST is starting again, where the Army will work with state public safety. State troopers in Alaska have the statutory responsibility for all search and rescue that's land-based.
Part of that mission involves working with other entities like Wilderness Search and Rescue and the military in order to accomplish that mission.
The Fort Wainwright unit will be available to help throughout the interior of Alaska.
Anywhere they have range, really. My responsibility working in Fairbanks is the interior, so these would be some of the folks that I know I'm going to be interfacing with, but at some point they may end up interacting with other troopers in other parts of the state.
The Army helicopters can be used for some things the trooper helicopters can't.
Although we do have helicopters, we don't have the capability that the Army has in providing that kind of medevac and distance that they can travel. So really working with the Army and the National Guard and the Air Force, we really rely heavily on those types of assets.
The aviators also trained for wilderness search and rescue.
The Army has specific training and assets that other ambulance services don't have, and that's going to dovetail really nicely with what we do as the remote crew. In the past, we've packaged patients and brought them down to the trailhead. Now we're going to have the option with higher priority patients to actually call a direct evac, you know, directly from the mountaintop instead of having to haul them so far. It's going to hopefully increase our success rate and survivability for the subjects.
It's all part of an agreement with the Alaska Rescue Coordination Center. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
Well, okay, up next in sports, some UAF student athletes receive national accolades.
Plus, a look at some upcoming sports events that you'll want to check out. All that and more with Joe Cook after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening with your Wednesday Hump Day Sportscast, so let's get it started. Oh, I'm sorry. Continuing, the Alaska Nanook athletic calendar is complete for the 2014-15 season, but some student athletes are still bringing in some awards. 5 members of the UAF rifle team recently received some national recognition. Senior Ryan Anderson was named to the College Rifle Association's All-America First Team. Junior Tim Sherry was also a first-team All-American, while senior Mott Erickson was an honorable mention. West Virginia had 8 All-Americans. The National Rifle Association redshirt freshman Sagan Madalena and Anderson on the Air Rifle All-American First Team. Sherry was a second-team pick. Erickson, Anderson, and Sherry were all small bore first-team All-Americans. Madalena and redshirt sophomore Soren Butler were second-team All-Americans in small bore. UAF won the National Runner-Up Trophy earlier this month for the second year in a row at the National Rifle Championships. All right, well, staying with the end of season awards theme, the UAF hockey team will be having their end of the year banquet this Friday. The season was one of their best despite no postseason play. Alaska started the year 5-0 and won the Kendall Hockey Classic and the Bryce Alaska Gold Rush titles. They won their season series over then #1 Minnesota State, and they were the only WCHA team to do that in conference games. The Nooks won their 6th Governor's Cup in the season finale and ended the season on a 7-0-1 unbeaten streak, which was the best in the country. Alaska finished with a 19-13-2 record. Those 19 wins are the most in a single season for head coach Dallas Ferguson. The team will be giving an award for MVP, Most Dedicated Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, Best Defenseman, and Fans' Choice Award. The banquet is Friday night from 6 to 10 at the Westmark Hotel. It's starting to turn into springtime, but the ice is still cool at the Fbx Curling Club. What's even cooler is that this Thursday is the 80th International Bonspiel. The opening ceremonies begin Thursday evening at 6:15 at the Fbx Curling Club. The first games will start at 7 o'clock. 37 total rinks are signed up this year, 13 women's teams and 24 men's teams. Now, some of the usual suspects are back. The Susan Carothers rink won the 78th Bonspiel women's title. Team Persinger won the men's title last year over Berklet. I know Berklet. Each rink will play 3 games, and the top 4 in each division will get prizes. There will also be food all day, every day during the Bonspiel, with live entertainment on Saturday and Friday. The awards ceremony will be this Sunday at 5 p.m. All right, this is a big one. Speaking about upcoming events, the local ping pong championships begin this weekend up at the Patty Center. The Jerry Smith Alaska Hardbat Championships start Friday night at 5:30 with the first round of the recreational singles. The first day of action will wrap up around 9 p.m. There will be open divisions in men's and women's singles, opens, doubles, limited doubles, and recreational singles. Whew. Now, hardbat is a little different than table tennis, so let me break it down for you. Hardbat paddles don't have the spongy layer on the traditional table tennis rackets. Saturday, the Hardbat Championships continue at 10 a.m. in the Patty. All proceeds from the tournament go to the American Diabetes Association in memory of the much-beloved table tennis competitor Jerry Smith. Now, if you're interested in signing up, visit fitclub.net. That's FITT-club.net. All right, now we take a look at the College Hoops Championship standings before this weekend's Final 4 games. Yours truly, Joe Cook, is in the top 5 at the 4th overall. Nancy leads, followed by Lincoln, Brett, myself, and Dwight. 4 of the top 5, 3 of the Final 4 teams correct. I have Wisconsin winning it all, and that's my only hope to win. Nancy has Kentucky beating Duke in the final. The grand prize winner gets a chainsaw from Outpost, Alaska, and of course, 2 large Pizza Hut pizzas. March Madness will continue this weekend in Indianapolis, but before any basketball can happen, you got to have a floor. The floor those teams will be playing on is already in Indianapolis. This is big news. While the hardwood floors used in the tournament so far have had that familiar black and blue pattern, the floor at the Final Four at Lucas Oil Stadium is surrounded by red. The floor was shipped in pieces from Idaho, where it was built. The final starts is this Saturday at 2:09 Alaska time, with 7-seed Michigan State taking on #1 Duke. Then Kentucky will face Wisconsin at 4:49. We'll see what happens after this weekend. The national championship is Monday, April 6th. Whew, that'll wrap it up for sports tonight. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast. I'll catch you next time.
Hey, welcome back into our April Fool's edition of the Fbx Evening News and News Center Final. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about weather. You ever have one of those days where you feel like you're not quite there? Well, that's what I feel like today, you know. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyway, let's talk about weather and talk about our photograph for tonight. This one's sent in by Robert Marzak. Another great sunset across the Fairbanks area, as you can see here. And as always, if you have a photograph to share, by all means, send it to photos at ktvf11.com. Here's your numbers. 37 for the high today, the low last night 20. The record high 56 was in 1994. The record low 31 below in 1944. Sunrise and sunset, about 13 hours and 43 minutes. That's a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. On our satellite and radar, again, you can see what we're looking at for the most part. Anchorage looking at a little bit of shower activity there. Like I said, I'm just not quite myself today. You'll have to excuse me there. And showers across southeast Alaska, and a little bit of activity moving up across the Alaska Range, but nothing really affecting us. And as far as what's going on across the rest of the state, well, again, Ketchikan looking at some shower activity around Juneau, and then a little bit of sunshine around Anchorage, right on down to Kodiak. Cloudy skies along the Aleutian Chain. Up and down the west coast, looking at pretty nice weather. It even warmed up a little bit. Nome today, 14 degrees, and Barrow at 0 with Fort Yukon at 28. Lower 48 weather looks like this. And again, we're talking about, for the most part, some showers around the Pacific Northwest. Also looking at beautiful weather up and down the West Coast. Once again, the drought continues, unfortunately, over the south central sections. Looking at the thunderstorms that were there yesterday, moving out of the picture. A little bit of rain activity along the Gulf Coast sections around New Orleans and Miami. Temperatures in the 80s, and New York at 51 degrees. And as far as the satellite and radar is concerned, again, you're looking at a little bit of activity moving across the southeastern sections and down across the central plains too. While over the Pacific Northwest, a little cold band of air moving in, helping to develop the showers over the Pacific Northwest. Now, the overall picture is calling for more severe thunderstorm activity developing tonight across much of the country, at least the Missouri and Ohio valleys. That'll be stretching from this area there, bringing hail and damaging winds and even some heavy downpours. And the overall picture for the jet stream as it goes across my neck. There's right there, yeah. And as you can see here, we're looking at the jet stream dropping down and bringing some showers across the Pacific Northwest, and also some thunderstorms over the deep south, and the rest of the country looking pretty good. All right, back to Alaska for tomorrow. We're looking at partly cloudy skies at Barrow in the northern sections, mostly sunny skies for Nome, and cloudy skies in Fort Yukon. In the interior sections, it looks like more scattered clouds and mild temperatures for Fairbanks, Healy, and Delta Junction, with the high tomorrow around 40 degrees for the Fairbanks area. Over southeast Alaska, the rains are going to continue. Showers expected in Juneau and periods of rain for Ketchikan. While over the southwest part of the state, snow showers are expected at Cold Bay with partly cloudy skies in Bethel and some rain showers in the Kodiak region. And if you're heading on down to the Anchorage area, we're looking at, for the most part, scattered clouds for Anchorage and Homer, but rain and snow is still possible in Valdez. Okay, it's time once again for our kids' weather, and all this week we're talking with the kids from Ann Ween Elementary School. Tonight, here's a young lady with a question for me about clouds.
My name is Mia Charpentier, and I'm in the Servant 6th grade class at Ann Ween Elementary School. If water is clear and looks blue or green in lakes, why do clouds look gray right before it rains or snows?
Well, Mia, the color of clouds is basically controlled by how much moisture is in the clouds. The more moisture, the less opportunity it has to reflect back any sunshine, and therefore it gets darker and darker. So if you have dark clouds, it means you have a lot of water in those clouds, where just the contrast, if the clouds are white, it means there's not a whole lot of water, and usually that's contained within the cumulus clouds, and those are the fair weather clouds. That's why they're called that way. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And tomorrow night we'll wrap it all up with a teacher. She's going to be here with an interesting weather fact to share with us. So here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Partly cloudy, even a little warmer. You might even see some more auroras around. We got about a 4 on the category of auroras, a possibility of seeing them. 23 degrees for the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast calling for 40 degrees with mostly sunny skies, a little warmer than it was today. And the extended forecast looking at not bad weather. In fact, the temperatures will be right around the mid to upper 30s each day. Overnight lows dropping down to the teens to upper teens for overnight lows. No precipitation expected. And I think I feel myself coming back to life now. I'm a little more pumped up because this has been a fun newscast. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been enjoyable.
It was interesting being Joe Cook for the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can see what and experience what I do on a daily basis. So it was cool being in the new seat as well. Mm-hmm. It was different. I think I did pretty well.
Yeah.
You did good. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. All right. Fun times, guys. All right, that'll wrap up this April Fool's edition of the Fbx Evening News. We are glad you could laugh along with us.
Tonight on ABC Nightly News, the California drought continues with billions at stake as farmland dries up. That's up next with Lester Holt.
You can join
us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or on. Sorry, I said Joe. I thought I was supposed to read.
.com.
All right. From all of us here at the News Center, have a good night.
April Fools.